morning, everyone.
As a prayer today, yesterday was the anniversary of 9/11. It was 22 years ago we lost nearly 3,000 Americans from this attack. We will never forget. For those who were not born yet on September 11th, may they never experience in their lifetime such a profound act of evil. We pray to the Lord. For our military, police, firefighters, and all responders, may you bless them, keep them safe, and help them to make the good decisions. We pray to the Lord. For all veterans from all wars, may you strengthen us to help and serve them. We pray to the Lord. For peace in all places of the world that experience violence, we pray to the Lord. May God bless America. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so on August 31st, for Job and Family Services, I acknowledge the following new hire appointment as Executive Director of Job and Family Services, complied with the Board of Commissioners recruitment and hiring procedures for Haley Cruikshank, clerical specialist 3, as a replacement position, effective July 10th, 2023. And then financials on September 7th. Amongst other items, I approved for supplemental appropriations in the Commissioner's General Fund to cover various cash transfers, operating transfer out, capital, and reimbursement transfers, and a supplemental in the Board of Elections Election Revenue Fund for the purchase of poll pads. Cash transfers included, amongst others, cash transfer from the General Fund to Court Technology for a portion of the 2023 funding, and a cash transfer from the General Fund to Family First Council for the July through September commitment, fiscal year 2024 first quarter. Encumbrances included a travel request from Job and Family Services to attend the CFIS conference, a travel request from Juvenile Court to attend the 2023 Ohio CASA conference. Vouchers included a five payments totaling $51,950 from the Auditor's Office to TJ Smith Excavating LLC for sewer service installations in the Berkshire Heights domain.
All right, do you have anything? All right, then I have, need a motion for July 18th, July 25th, and August 1st minutes.
This one was absent for the meeting on the 25th, so it's choice of everything, so it's coming up.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Spiller?
Aye.
Just for all three.
Correct.
Good morning.
Today's financials include a cash transfer from the Clerk of Courts Certificate of Title Admin Fund to the Commissioner's Capital Reserve Fund Phase 2. There are some travel requests among the encumbrances, one from Job and Family Services to attend the 2023 Ohio Family and Children's First Coordinators Association Conference, and from Probate Court to attend the 2023 National College of Probate Judges Conference. Among the vouchers are $239,451.99 from the Engineer's Office to Carbo Paving Company for the asphalt resurfacing of Washington Street, sections A through B, and also $138,559.15 from the Engineer's Office to Roniak Paving Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of Washington Street, sections C through E.
Any questions? We have a motion.
Motion. Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Ward?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye.
And then the next item on the agenda is the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve the 2024 budget hearing schedule with dates included as Tuesday, September 26, 2023, from noon to 4:30 p.m., Thursday, September 28, 2023, from 8:15 to 4:30 p.m., and Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023, from 8:45 to 9:15 a.m., and then following session from 12 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. And then maybe next year, depending on what you guys decide and want to do we will move these hearings up to before the Budget Commission meeting.
That'd be a good idea.
Or actually, we have to do it, I have to have the tax budget to, you guys have to sign it by July 15th, and I have to have it to the auditor by July 20th. So it'd be well before that, so that we would have the hearings. So normally I send out the budget requests in April and want them back by May.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe next year I will send out the requests in March, get them back in April, be able to have meetings actually here in session with some of the departments submitting their budgets during the month of May. And then I'd be able to still have everything together in time for the presentation and the submission.
Makes sense. Okay.
But this is the schedule for this year for 2024,
Okay.
permanent appropriations.
All right.
I make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. I'm here representing the archives this morning, and it's simply a request for an unpaid personal leave of absence for Jeffrey Vajai, who is our courier, because he doesn't qualify for paid time off yet, and this will increase his probationary period by the number of hours that he uses.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm crying here. So item number 9, the Department of Development, Community and Economic is requesting the board approve a regrade of the position of program coordinator number 1409 from grade 9 to grade 10 to be effective September 3rd, 2023. And then number 10 collates with obviously approving the program coordinator number 1409 from grade 9 step 3 at a rate of $22.03 per hour to grade 10 step 3. So we're going from to at $23.54 per hour to be effective September 3rd, 2023. So obviously our goal is to do some regrading of a position, and from a coordinator standpoint in comparison to some of the other departments, this position was really on the lower side, so it was time to make that change. Elaine has come to her 1-year anniversary in this current position, so we thought it would be appropriate to do it at this point. So
there was a lot of discussion about this, and I would have to say that Jerry and I have talked about this as well. Some of the positions, just when you just really look at it in comparison to the other grade levels, she was definitely one step lower than where she should have been. It's not a change in title or anything like that, and I think we're going to be doing more of that, looking at that. And in particular, we're bringing in new hires at higher rates of pay as well, and looking at those positions. So I think this is great. I think this is exactly right where it should be at this point.
Thank you.
sort of long overdue for that department as well, and all the different changes that have happened over the years. So just trying to get back on track to what makes the most sense.
Okay.
Any questions?
No. You have a motion on that?
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Aye. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Commissioners?
A number of items today. Get my notes here. So the first one, we're going to start with a change order, please, for the Cleveland Tree and Stump Company. We have a contract in place with them that actually expires this month. And with all the damage that was done with the storm that came through a couple weeks ago, we would just like to take this time to increase the contract and then extend the length, since they did agree to stick with the same pricing. So we are asking for you to approve and execute change order number 1, increasing the contract with Cleveland Tree and Stump in the amount of $34,000. and extend the length for an additional 16 months through January 9 of 2025. This will bring that contract total, it started at $15,000, so the total will be $49,000. And again, it'll give us, we won't have to do this again next year. We'll already have encumbrance in place should there be tree damage.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
The next two are related. We have finally found a very qualified applicant for our assistant water supervisor position. We are requesting the board approve the promotion of Brian Kane, who's currently our mechanic, to the position of assistant water supervisor at the rate of $28.80 an hour, which is WR6 Step 1, to be effective October 1st, and he will have a 180-day probationary period since he is a current employee. So that's number 12. And then 13 is to grant permission to advertise for the position he would be vacating, the maintenance position. Or mechanic, I'm sorry, the mechanic position.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
We also have a need for to fill that plant chief operator position at McFarland and bring in another operator 3. So we are asking the board to grant permission to advertise for that position. It is a union position. It would be advertised internally for 5 days, and if no qualified candidate, then advertise externally until filled.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Next, we are asking the board to approve the award from the bid for our sludge biosolids filter sand disposal to Quasar Energy Group. They were the lowest and only bid. It's in the amount, a total amount of a 3-year period of $409,318. There's breakdown per year. And we already have a contract with them. They've been doing the service for us, and we've been very happy, so we're glad that they threw a bid in.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Okay, and last but not least, we are asking the board to approve and execute resolution number 23-154, approving ARPA, the American Rescue Act of 2021 Berkshire Heights sewer connection increase for certain properties for an additional expenditure for parcel number 06-049400 in the amount of $4,000. And this is directly related to having to move piping that was coming out of the back of the house. The installer ended up having to redo the piping in the basement so that it would come out the front of the house. We would have enough fall for them to meet the lateral connection.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next couple items deal with the county health insurance and dental. It's the time of year we're renewing with Sedco. They had their meeting a couple weeks ago. The county's increase is 8.9%, which is basically the average of the in this Sedco pool. They ranged anywhere from 0 to about 15%. What they found was that with COVID kind of going away, or not being as prevalent, that more people were going back in to do a lot of the surgeries and procedures that they had put off during COVID. So that increased our costs for this year. So we haven't finalized how we're going to handle that increase with regards to the portion that the employees would pay for. So this is just approving, keeping with Sedco and keeping the current health care programs we have right now.
Okay.
So that would be 17 and 18.
Okay. We have a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. So we've got an executive session for the purpose of discussing discipline or termination of public employment in the Water Resources Department. And Jerry, who will be with us?
It'd be myself and Kathy Hostel.
What time is it?
No one from the Water Resources?
All right.
I make the motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Good. How you doing? Okay. All right, we're back from executive session at 10:03 with action.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board accept the disciplinary recommendation of the hearing officer, Mark Fischel, to terminate employment for Michael Kurzinger, Network Administrator of Water Resources, for a violation of the Jog County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual by accepting money from Mr. Camino and CSJ. Section 1, Code of Ethics, acceptance of money, gifts, or services by an employee is prohibited. Section 3, conduct, neglect of duty, any act of misfeasance, malfeasance, or nonfeasance of position, and for violation of the Jog County Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual by failing to cooperate in the investigation regarding the above referenced violations. Section 3, conduct insubordination on August 16, 2023, and to further approve and execute the order of removal, reduction, suspension, involuntary disability separation form per ORC 124.34 for termination effective September 12, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Okay.
There's a line. Here's a box for each of you
Okay.
and each side. They're not, there's not, you don't have enough room in the other for them to sign, and that's where they typically have signed in the past, so.
Okay. Next item we'll have is another executive session for the purpose of considering the purchase of property for public purpose and the sale of property at competitive bidding. This one will have Linda and Jerry. Okay. And we have a motion.
I make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
What happened to the guy? Did he get fired? Was he really bad? How do we know that?
It doesn't matter, he was sick. Mr. Morgan, will you speak up quickly? Gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we are back from executive session at 10:55. Basically, Jerry, if you could give us a final statement on that.
Yeah, no update at this time, it's just further discussions about the possibility of purchasing property and selling other property that the county owns. No update at this time.
No updates, no action.
Correct.
No action, just further
Okay.
discussion on possible purchasing and selling of properties.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Christie, then, is there something that was added to the agenda as far as the discussion?
I think that's
It
Jerry.
was not added to the agenda, but I'm going to bring it up to have a discussion
What's that?
regarding
You have to sign in this box.
development at the Jug Lake property. We do have some representatives from here, from the developer and the Port Authority that they wish to use out of County Port Authority for funding process. They have been working with the township on the redevelopment of the Jug Lake property. They're a portion of that. And part of the deal is they're looking to get financing through Blanchard Valley Port Authority. In order to do that, they would need to have a cooperative agreement signed between Blanchard Valley and the county for the Port Authority to come into the county to provide the financing for that process. So I don't know if you want to come forward and kind of give a better explanation than I was able to do.
Well, thank you for taking the time for us today. We appreciate it.
Sure.
I'm not going to prolong this. I'm Attorney Patricia Ritzert, and I represent the Blanchard Valley Port Authority. My firm is general counsel for the Port Authority. And we are wanting to explain first what the cooperative agreement means, the structure of it, and we've actually drafted a resolution which you could use or not use as you saw fit. But attached to the resolution is the cooperative agreement itself.
Thank you.
Do you need one for records?
Yeah.
There you go. So the cooperative agreement is legally necessary because the Port Authority has a certain territorial jurisdiction, which in this case is Hancock County. And we've been asked by the developer here to assist by using those powers that port authorities have that other political subdivisions do not have. They can acquire an interest in the property, and when they own the property and finance the construction and it's constructed under agreements with the Port Authority, they can confer a sales and use tax exemption for the construction materials that end up being incorporated into the property. Mr. Lennon's nodding, Mr. Spitaleri was nodding. I think you understand that they have that ability. So in this cooperative agreement, you're agreeing that the Port Authority can act outside their territorial jurisdiction. This is required to be in writing under the state code. So this formalizes that relationship for the purpose only of this particular property, so that the Port Authority can issue its bonds to finance the construction, take a ground lease in the property, and have the facilities built. And because that results in an exemption from the sales and use tax, this agreement contains a fee to the county. The fee to the county was calculated to represent the amount of the sales tax that, if exempt as planned, would have gone back to the county, so that it would be revenue neutral to the county. And of course, this doesn't cost the county anything to enter into this cooperative agreement. But, so with the compensation, it's revenue neutral to the county, and it will allow this to proceed because that sales tax exemption is a significant benefit to the developer. It's going to allow them to do an extremely upscale development along the lake, occupying a portion, some 19 acres, I believe, of the former amusement park area, which has been sitting in a unused state for quite a few years now. So I have I also want to point out that there was a joint economic development district put in place by an agreement between Bainbridge Township and the city of Aurora, which will allow the city and the township to share income tax imposed on residents within this development. This will be a residential development. However, they are hoping to attract higher income residents as tenants, and the tax then is imposed upon the income of those tenants. So the township and the city have an interest in keeping this as an upscale development. So I have with me Todd Foley, who has been the designer for the project, and can show you what is planned here with items, with clear illustrations of the planned development. And one of the themes that I think that he can emphasize in those plans is that Geauga County is where history meets the future. There has been a concerted effort on behalf of the developer at the request of the township to incorporate some of that history of Geauga County's, of the Geauga Lake Amusement Park, which was so much a part of their identity for a long period of their existence. So, Todd, would you go ahead and show what you have?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thanks for your time. I'm Todd Foley with Pod Design. I'm a principal and work on behalf of Vision Development, who is the developer of the project. What I have here, and there's a lot of sheets to it, I'm going to go through pretty quickly, but hopefully you can paint a good picture at what Vision Development is proposing for what has been looked at by the master developer as kind of a key kind of catalyst part of the development for the Geauga Lake District. The master plan that's in place for this whole area, which you may be familiar with, encompasses a significant amount of acreage, a significant mix of development, and we are one part of that project. High visibility at the newly constructed Big Dipper Road at Aurora Road 43. And so we have gone through a very extensive process with the township. We have obtained their approval through all their processes for our design. And what we're proposing is a Class A market rate apartment project. And I'll get into some of the more details that support that terminology. The site's about 19 acres. The finished project will provide 331 dwelling units to the township, and those will be comprised of studios, apartments, one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom kind of dwelling units, with square footage is ranging from kind of micro units, 325 square feet, all the way up to close to 2,000 square feet a unit. So a variety of sizes catering to a variety of demographic potential tenants. There's over 13 different floor plans that are designed, so there's, again, a great variety. The architectural elevations in there can highlight a little bit of that. That all equates to a rent range of between $920 to upwards of $3,145 a month. So these are not typical entry level kind of dwelling units. These are definitely going to be supportive of that kind of Class A top tier, highly detailed and designed project that the township is striving for with the master plan that's in place. I mentioned, and then there's been an intense collaboration process. The master developer worked with the township on design guidelines to really create the aesthetic, the feel, the look of this district. And our designs are reflective of that effort. And the overarching goal is, how do we pay homage to the history that existed at the amusement park there? It's a vital part of the fabric of this community, and we don't want to turn our back to it. It was an immense opportunity, and we feel that the project's been very successful to do that. It will bring housing to this district that will support a walkable type of use eventually with the full build out of the district, to be able to take advantage of being able to live there, to potentially work there, to play there, whether it's interacting with the lake or some of the other kind of development components that will come around the lake. There's a plan version there of the district master plan to kind of show reference. Our project is just west of the Geauga Lake along 33 there. As I mentioned, a lot of historical precedent kind of analysis and really kind of boots on the ground interaction with various members of the community and the township to achieve the site plan that we have before you.
Do you want to start with your images here and let them know what is depicted on them?
Yeah, so this obviously is the district master plan that I was referring to. So our project will exist through here, 43. There is a Big Dipper Road that's now been constructed there. That's a significant part of the infrastructure improvement to begin to open that area for development all the way to the north. There is more traditional kind of big box commercial retail development to the west that's been approved.
Show where this unit is, where this project is on the map.
Yeah, so we're going to be located right to the west here of the lake, right along 43. There'll be some commercial kind of retail development pieces on either side of our project. And so the next slide, there's some historic precedent imagery, mainly providing that because you'll hopefully pick up on some of the detailed cues of architectural designs and the way we approached the way our paths were designed and some of the amenities and things like that that will play into that acknowledgement of the historical value of what was there before and how we can move that into the future. So the illustrative site plan, 43 is at page bottom that you'll see on that. And there is a mix of building design and type provided. This is not a project that has one building type that's replicated over and over again. There was a focus on providing a variety of unit types, which also then provides a variety of architectural opportunities. And it supports kind of the design approach, which was we want to make sure that this project, while it is a private development, it supports and provides the public access to the lake and the recreation easement that is envisioned to go around the lake.
So point out the amenity area.
So off of 43 and then off of Big Dipper, we've created kind of a public, it's a private street, but it has a public characteristic to it. What I mean by that is sidewalks, generous sidewalks that allow for pedestrians who may be coming from the exterior part of the site to get to our central amenity area, which is strategically placed right up against the lake. We have our community building, our recreational kind of pool, outdoor area, there's a fitness component, but then there's a significant amount of green space, a significant amount of pedestrian walkability. Those are connection points that are a part of the master planning process to ensure that even if I don't live in this community, but I have the ability to walk through this district, that I can get down to the lake. That's a very, very important design theme that we work really hard with the master developer, with ICP, to ensure that we can provide that. And so when we think about how does this project interface with the lake and potentially all the other development that's around there, we've made sure that we're putting our best foot forward from an amenity package towards that lake and to create a cohesive kind of active amenity-driven zone that's adjacent to the lake. So the next slide here is representative of one of the building types that this is what you'll see along State Route 43. These are what we refer to as our townhouse buildings. And those are smaller footprint, they're 4-unit buildings, but they allow us to provide kind of a transitional architectural character. It's not a larger imposing building, it has a more of a kind of a front porch, kind of front door feel. And so we felt it was really important in our discussions with the township to not turn our back on 43, but to really embrace that as a front door to the district and also to our project. So, lush landscaping and signage and all those kind of typical things will exist. The next slide jumps us to the kind of main amenity area with our community center, community facility, which will have leasing offices. It'll have tenant kind of amenity spaces like movie rooms and an indoor kitchen area, all those kind of typical higher end finishes and things that residents can utilize. Really important that that everything we looked at was driven on the visibility both out to the lake and back to our project. So the design of these elements is done in a way so that we don't have overlapping kind of conditions, that we provide these kind of like curvilinear walk systems, which if you go back and look at historic maps of the park, that's the way a lot of that pedestrian experience was. And so we thought that was a really creative way to start to pull some historical presence back. There's a separate large kind of fitness building that has roll-up garage doors and state-of-the-art kind of CrossFit kind of fitness. And then one of the key components of the master plan was when projects are built along the district perimeter adjacent to the lake, that there needs to be a node or a significant design kind of feature that signifies these different projects. And so we've created, and there's a picture of this towards the end of the packet, they refer to them as kind of architectural follies. So there are opportunities for us to design and create things that have some sort of historical relevance to what was there previously. They signify an opportunity where somebody can stop and gather, sit down on a bench, enjoy the view of the lake, do those type of things. The next series of slides here are just more detail of the amenity area. So the lower kind of patio area, there's some great transition down to the lake. So the clubhouse facility has a walkout condition, but there is outdoor fire pits, outdoor grills, kind of patio seating area both up above and down below. Going to have very striking views of the lake and sunrise, sunset, things like that. Little details like a little boardwalk kind of condition. That's kind of a design element that we wanted to try to pull through to pay kind of homage to some of the paths and trails that existed closer to the lake previously. The detailing of the trellises and some of the cornicing and things like that. The intent is to mimic those stylistic features that you would see on a variety of the buildings that existed at the park previously. Resort style swimming pool with covered trellises and different types of seating area. The more organic shape that again, if you look at some of the water elements that were in the park, they were more organic in their shape, so that kind of drives that design. This is just more of an up-close look. This is one of the key kind of design features, some of the bracing and things that existed on the main kind of admission building, and then obviously the roller coasters and things like that. So we're actually taking the opportunity on the backside of the fitness building that I referred to create a mural along the building. And the mural that we are representing here in some form is to the large roller coaster that was there. So just really cool, kind of almost passive, but nostalgic kind of visual cues and things that we hope will allow for individuals who are living there, but also that are coming to the district long term once it's built out to have just little moments of remembrance and things like that. And then the last kind of detailed slide here is that architectural folly I was referring to. This is kind of signifies where the public recreation path kind of meets the private part of the development. And we've got some benches and there's some detailing of trellis work and the arching form of the trellises above. Again, all kind of looking at some of the detailing of what was there prior. This slide here shows the multitude of building types that we have. So we have some larger buildings. We have those townhouse buildings. The center building here is that fitness facility I was describing. There are The buildings themselves are a mixture of flat units, meaning one story, and then the ends actually have some townhouse units in them, and generous porch sizes, square footages, and all designed to be able to have a portion of them to have that experiential interaction with the lake. So, and then I guess I want to just kind of introduce Vision a little bit more at a remedial level, and then certainly we're here for questions that you may have.
Vision Development is the company that will be developing the project. And they not only do acquisition and development, they do the management afterwards. So they remain with their projects as the managers and leasing agents. So they are going to be there to stand behind their work. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really key point that we always want to introduce is their vertical integration. That's very strategic, and it's been a part of all their projects. Right now, there's over 21 different communities that are either built or under construction in 13 different cities or municipalities throughout the state of Ohio. I've been a part of all those, and they have, for all those projects, through the entitlement phase up front, doing these kind of interactions and discussions, the physical design work, the construction of the project, their construction arm does, and then they have a full service management company that is extremely focused on the resident experience, ensuring that there is a sense of community in these projects, utilizing the amenity spaces, organizing events. There's a large philanthropic component to their management where they try to create opportunities for the residents of the community to interact with charities and things like that. And to date, as a company, they've gone over just about $1 billion in completed projects when we start to look at constructed projects. So and so that's a little bit about them. They have a few projects in the region right now. They've got in green. There's one that the Boulevard Green, and then there's another one that's under construction right now on Turkey Foot Road that are a different product type than what we're presenting here, but so they're all throughout the state. So so that's a little bit about them.
So if you have any questions about the company or the project, and I know we've spent a lot of time on describing the project, but that's because the existence of the sales tax exemption can make or break the capital stack that the developer needs to have in place in order to start the development and to put in these beautiful things that have been shown to you. You can see that the development is made to appeal to people who want apartment living. The development also obviously has kind of a country club feel to it for the residents. It relieves them of maintenance responsibilities and a bit of seclusion. So,
if you can explain the specifics of this JED district and what's the specifics of that?
The specifics of what?
The JED district that was created.
Yeah, the JED district was created so that a 2% income tax could be imposed on residents within the district, which will include the entire development area, not only this 19 acres. There's an agreement for a sharing then of that income tax revenue between the township and the city.
So it's 50-50 then?
I don't
Or
know.
we'll get 1% and Bainbridge will get 1%?
Jeff might be able to speak
Hi,
to that.
Commissioners. Jeff Martin with Industrial and Commercial Properties. Good to see you all again. The JED is actually split in 3 different segments. So 50% goes to the city of Aurora, 25% goes to Bainbridge Township, and then the other 25% goes to what's called the M&I Fund, which is Maintenance and Improvement Fund, and that fund helps sustain all the infrastructure that's in the district itself.
So that portion is to support the public infrastructure?
Correct. Yep. So that can be used for sustaining of the water and sewer systems that are put into the district, as well as like the recreational trail around the lake and some of the other public amenities.
The city of Aurora is providing utilities.
Right, but their surcharge is going to be 20% on every unit in here. So if the bill's $100.
The city does have the ability to have a surcharge on their
Right.
existing rates. Yep.
Right, and the units are going to be in Bainbridge and Geauga County, but the people are going to pay that for the water and sewer 20%.
Yes, Vision also bears the brunt of paying a high impact fee to the city of Aurora. to get the
And
project off the
Aurora
ground.
going to get 50% of the income tax.
Yes. Yep. If I can just add a couple other anecdotes while I'm up here, just want to express our support for this project. We transacted to Vision a little over a year ago and just felt like they were the right multifamily developer to help kind of launch the project. ICP doesn't do multifamily ourselves, so we kind of scoured different developers for who we thought would be a good fit with our vision, which we had worked on with the township for a couple of years, and really like how this product type fits into the overall district, and truly it will be a catalyst to help us land commercial uses, restaurants on the lake, to support the other services that we want to bring around the lake itself.
Is there going to be further housing development
Yes.
besides this project?
Yep, and we're trying to do all different product types. So this would be kind of a for rent product, contemplating kind of a more 55-plus community to the north with Epcon Communities, which is a franchise, which would be more single, it would be fee-owned, single unit, not detached, not attached to other
Condo
units.
kind of thing?
Yep, but more like first floor masters with lofts and bonus rooms. And then we have along the north shore of the lake, we're looking to do kind of higher end single family homes. Pain and Pain is contemplated to be our builder on that side. And then we'll have 15 to 16 acres wrapping around the old theater portion, kind of from 1 to 3 o'clock on the clock face around the lake. And that, we think, has some commercial viability, especially with the conversations we're having with the city of Aurora with their new park that's being contemplated.
Okay. So the resolution, I appreciate you brought this with you today, but have we had our prosecutor's office review this yet?
Not the resolution,
No.
The agreement, the cooperative agreement has been looked at by our outside counsel.
Okay.
The prosecutor's office had a conflict.
Yeah.
Based on their work with the city.
Okay, so the agreement, we've looked at the agreement,
We've looked at the cooperative agreement, but not the resolution.
not the resolution. Okay. And what's the dollar amount of this project? Is it 71 million for the entire project, or is that just this? It says facilitate approximately 71 million of construction, multiple buildings.
That's our Vision's.
That's Vision. Yeah. Okay.
Is that correct? Is that 71 million the total project cost, or that's construction cost?
It says will facilitate approximately 71 million of construction, multiple buildings, approximately 19 acres, private drives, so on and so on.
So Todd, I can't speak on behalf of Vision, but and we should have prefaced this whole conversation by saying Pete LaRose, who's the development lead for Vision, his wife was being induced this morning, so he couldn't be here for the meeting.
Okay.
So filling in some of the gaps, but my understanding is that is the size of their project.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if your legal reviewer has any comments on the resolution or the cooperative agreement, we'd be glad to talk about it.
Yeah, we probably want to
And
take some time to have that reviewed.
And if that can be done, then we are hoping that you can bring up at your next meeting with an agenda item and a resolution that might be...
What's your time frame looking like right now?
Weeks ago.
With getting this set up with the resolution, are you up against a time frame?
There's a plan to close on the bond issue at the end of September or in the first week of October.
Okay, that's the bond.
And that can't happen without the cooperative agreement being in place.
And what's the projected date to, if everything goes smoothly, to begin breaking ground on a project like this?
Not be able to give you a specific date, but it's almost immediate. I mean, I think they are very focused on bringing this to market as quickly as you can, because it's been a long process, obviously.
In fact, Mr. Foley also brought some photos. If we're unable to proceed with this, then the beautiful pictures that you were already shown of the development won't happen. What you're left with is the deteriorating amusement park property that's depicted there as of 2021. And in anticipation of being able to complete this project, there has been some clearing of foundations and preparation for development that is shown on the final drawing there.
I think the county's been participating in some of that brownfield cleanup with grant funding, so we're very familiar with that.
That's true, correct.
Yeah.
The demo grants from the city and the, so, but we don't want to leave it that way.
Right.
So we hope for your consideration. Thanks.
Thank
And
you.
then I have one more question as
Sure.
far as for the taxes. What's the, so from what, just pieces that I've kind of been picking up, so that you guys have made it whole with the schools, but everybody else is going to get zero, correct?
I
For how
don't
many years?
know of a tax increment financing abatement here.
I can address it. So there is a 10-year 75% TIF that Bainbridge established even before ICP bought the property. I think it was in 2017 or 18 that was put in place. So that clock has already started on some of the projects that we've sold, i.e. Menards and Vision. So if we were able to tap into that, we would still need a development agreement in place with the township. There was conversation about extending that. We had some conversations with Kenston, school board, school district folks, and David Seed about extending the term because the schools were looking for more revenue up front in that arrangement. So we have not resolved anything on the TIF at this juncture. So that, right now, all the tax dollars flow as if they would normally, because there's no TIF agreement in place.
Just another quick question, the Class A market rate apartment projects, so, I mean, that's what you're striving for, correct? Or is that going to be, is that contracted in place that will be what it is?
That is what they construct. They do not create projects that have any kind of subsidy or any other kind of funding support mechanism.
Because all best plans are great until they're not, right? And then all of a sudden, you got to shift gears and change your business plan, right? You want to keep them busy.
I think it's a fair question, and I think the environment that this site sits, the district, the efforts to date, what Vision develops, the part of the market that they live in, they create projects that address that market rate. As you can tell, the rent rates that I've provided there, those are indicative of their other projects, certainly different markets that fluctuates a little bit, but it is a product. Through its highly amenitized components, it is that market rate. It's not entry level, it's not workforce housing, those kind of things. And I think in this, as I mentioned, in this district, this is a rent by choice. These are people that probably maybe live in the community, that maybe they're downsizing. That's the beauty of the different unit sizes and designs, is that you may get empty nesters, snowbirds, things like that want to have a place here. So it just, it hopefully will address a lot of those things.
To the commissioner's question, though, we've shown concept plans and renderings here today. Have construction drawings been made?
Right now, we are going through the permitting process with the township. So all the exhibits and things that you've shown here are also what has come from our process with the township. These were a part of our development plan approvals and the active part of the project right now is the permitting with the different agencies that support.
And you
North
have
Actors.
development plan approval?
We are, yes, we have development, but we are now at the building stage.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you said you have 13 different other cities that you have similar or familiar to this project. Do you have any of those examples that you could just take a look at?
Yeah, certainly.
Or if you can email our administrator.
Yeah, why don't we create a
Yes.
list and
Okay.
email it to you. So you
It'd be interesting to see the success rate of those projects as well, too.
Commissioner Lennon, I mean, this is something, Chris Samaritan, the owner of ICP, is a high design type guy, was very focused on the product that we were getting, which is what ultimately led us to Vision and this partnership. But I mean, we went down and toured a bunch of their facilities outside Columbus and just walked away with a good feeling about it. It's definitely on the higher end of the market rate spectrum.
Thank you.
Finally, to Mr. Spitaler's concerns about the benefits that are being extended for this development, I guess my comment is that this is what is permitted under the Ohio Revised Code, and for communities to get the outcomes that they want from developers, they extract promises and assurances in exchange for certain benefits that are then extended. So taking the long view, the legislature has essentially provided that these benefits, when looking forward, are worth what you get in terms of future community advantages. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
So Jerry, we'll get this reviewed.
Yeah, he does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looks like a nice project.
Excuse me, sir.
Any other public comment?
Let me ask you one more quick question before. So as far as the total savings, if we were to do this, what is the total savings that you're going to basically have?
The savings to the project from the sales tax exemption?
Right.
Okay. Remembering that the sales tax exemption does not all fall, the cost to government of that exemption does not all fall in Geauga County. It falls in the counties, sometimes far-flung, where items are purchased for incorporation into the structures. And the amount that is, and the burden of the tax exemption, the sales tax exemption, falls largely on the state, because county taxes are typically a much smaller percentage of the total sales tax imposed. So, having said that, the net advantage to this project is approximately between 1.2 and 1.3 million from the sales tax exemption. It's certainly enough to make a difference in what they can afford to go forward with in this project.
So I guess my only concern is this, is that I guess it just seems like it's either all or nothing. And I don't understand if they want to do this, they're taking on a big project, and it almost sounds like they don't have either funding to move forward or the financing to move forward, and they're trying to find every opportunity to try to save, and it's like, at the end of the day, why can't you look at this in phases and have it in an affordable position and make one phase successful and move on to the next, and not have to ask us to do this?
I am always feeling inadequate when I look, and I do a large amount of development work and financing work for developments. I am not able to predict the way these planners are, what is going to be a success and what is not. I am always amazed at what the developers and planners feel is going to be attractive to the public and is going to be successful. And that is a kind of judgment call that I don't think I could second guess. I know that people don't like to live when there are tractors and backhoes and excavators doing their work around them. So it may be that people don't want to move into a half-built project. I'm not sure I'm qualified to even answer that question because I think it's a planning question and a design question. And as far as the financing goes, they've done a lot of work. They have a purchaser ready to buy the bonds that we are ready to issue. So I believe they have done a lot of, and I've seen their whole financial layout. They've done a lot of planning to do this, and this isn't unusual. One of the port authorities I work on developed the Flats project in Cleveland, and I've seen the amount of work that goes into that. Blanchard Valley has worked on Blue Scope Steel Company out in Fulton County. They worked on the Campbell Soup Distribution Center and Food Storage Center. They worked on the McLean Trucking Distribution Center out in the northwest of Ohio. And all of them are working to, yes, it sounds like they're cutting everything to the bone, but they try to find out where every penny is coming from and where every penny is going to go. And I think that's what you're getting a look at here.
If I may speak also for a second, I'm Connie Kleeman. I represent Vision Development also. When you talk about a project such as this, you come in and basically the planning itself and the financing for this project would not work in a phase type situation. In fact, it would cost more. Time is money, as you know. Interest carries, all types of things. So coming in and developing a project like this in phases would not work financially. And when you look at what is being done with this, one could say, what is a $1 million savings? It's a lot when you start talking about a project and you start talking about taking here, there, and all the other costs that come in. Knowing that the county, basically to support this, we would actually, as you see in the cooperative agreement, have agreed that if we basically said if we were to buy all of our products in Geauga County and pay the sales tax, what would that sales tax be? And we estimated it at million.
And that's how the 217,000 was.
But the portion that county would get out of that was $217,000 some dollars. So that amount Vision will be paying back to the county. So you lose nothing. And the rest of the sales tax will be the benefit that they have.
And again, that assumed that all the construction materials would
which
be
would not
purchased.
typically be done anyway. So it's making sure you stay whole, but it's also giving the builder.
So you're saying how much in product would you be purchasing? If it was a $71 million project?
Yes, I can tell you those figures. I have them right here.
So I guess out of the $71 million, that's based on how much of that would have been had a sales tax applied?
She'll have the figures. The rule of thumb that's used is that of total construction costs, particularly soft costs like planning, architecture, about half of it is for actual materials that are used in and though it's only the materials used in the structure that qualify for the tax exemption.
The hard cost budget, this is the actual cost of construction, outside of all the other soft costs that go along with land, et cetera, is approximately $48,395,668. The percentage of actual materials that would be bought, that would have sales tax, is about 45% of that. The true material cost then is $21,778,051 times the Geauga County sales tax rate of 6.75% you have an estimated tax of $1,470,018. Out of that, the state of Ohio would get 5.75%, which is $1,252,238. Geauga County would get $217,781. So if what we have done is if we bought all 45% of those sales tax materials in Geauga County, you would get that much money, which we probably wouldn't. We would be buying them where our producers provide them. You're staying whole or probably getting more than what you would have. But it is providing a savings, of course, of a little over $1 million for the developer.
Makes sense.
Not only that, but I have to add, of course, as Pat has said, that if this doesn't happen, if this project doesn't start, and also fuel the commercial and other things that are going to be on this project, that many 331 units, at least 331 people, also paying income tax that would be going back to the county through the township to support the infrastructure, public infrastructure of this project. The amount of money that will be generated through this project for the county is, I don't have those numbers, but I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's been calculated.
And that, yeah, you just kind of dawned on me. So as far as police and fire go, what are the plans for that? Are they going to be talking about annexation, or we're putting in a fire department over there? Or?
No conversations on the annex front. That's something that was included as part of the JID. So it will remain in Bainbridge Township in perpetuity. Bainbridge has been exploring different options for increasing services, and then the levy that was on the ballot in May that did not pass. I think it's something that as the district gets built up and populated over time, it'll become more of a need for the community. Right now, there is a cooperative services agreement in place with the city of Aurora. The city of Aurora actually has a fire station right across the street from this project, which is pretty convenient. But Bainbridge has also been exploring the need for additional services located out at the district.
Now, what happens when a contractor purchases material out of state? Are you exempt from that tax too?
Well, the states that are surrounding Ohio have reciprocal agreements with Ohio, where if you pay the tax in Pennsylvania and bring material into Ohio, ordinarily a use tax, which is equivalent to the same rate as a sales tax, would apply in Ohio. But because there's an agreement with the state, then no additional tax is due when it comes into Ohio. The reciprocity also applies when a tax is exempt in Ohio and purchased in Pennsylvania. Because of those agreements, then it's exempt in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois, I think Indiana also. I can't say Texas would have a reciprocal agreement with Ohio, but that's how that works.
I guess my only closing remark with this would be is that it just concerns me a little bit that we're kind of put in a position where you're saying if we don't do this, we're going to remain with this basically bare land, and my only concern with that is that with the scope of this project, $1.2 million or $1.4 million, and that sounds like you guys have experience in these building projects. But I can tell you, I've been involved in many projects that at a much lower level than this, but we have overages that are always involved in a project of an unforeseen situation. And if it's a situation that $1.2 or $1.4 million is going to kill this deal, I just have some concerns. The way that this is being portrayed to us is if we don't sign by the X, this is what we're going to get. And I just don't appreciate that. So I just got to be honest.
All right, I do understand your feeling.
Yeah.
We're hoping that because this should not be a detriment to the county, to allow the exemption, and we're hoping that you would consider this type of development within your county a good thing for your county, that that would be your motivation rather than feeling that you're being held with your feet to the fire.
One question on the JED. Will the construction workers be charged the 2% building the project? They will.
They will not, because they're not residents.
Yeah, our understanding is any contractor working within the project is, responsible for paying.
Oh, that there will be a withholding tax
Yes.
for them.
So the individual contractor is responsible for withholding those taxes.
Because some JEDs, I've read like 10 different JEDs across Ohio, and some do and some don't, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, no, ours is set up in such a fashion.
And with this project being so big, does this fall under prevailing wage?
Because the construction will be done under a construction manager agreement with a port authority, if you accept the cooperative agreement, then prevailing wage is not a requirement because port authorities are exempted under Ohio law.
Throughout Ohio?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
What time is
Thanks
it?
for coming in. Appreciate it. Yep.
Just a quick thank you for the Bradfield.
Thank you.
We're probably 2/3 of the way through with the demolition efforts out there.
Making that way. Yeah.
Fingers crossed we get that wrapped up.
Cleaning that up. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you coming in today. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
I'm going to try to get copies of this.
Thank you so much.